This Pioneer Field Agronomist Scott Eversgerd with the week of April 18th agronomy report. From a corn standpoint, and looking at some fields last week, the corn that has been in the ground now pushing 3 weeks, some a little more, some a little less. A lot of that corn now starting to emerge into last week. Expect to see more coming up this week. Stands right now of that planting seem to be actually pretty good. We'll know more here toward the end of this week after some warmer temps what final stands are going to look like. But overall, not looking too bad on that stuff. The corn that's been planted here beginning Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this week, expect that corn to probably be in the ground about 7 days plus or minus. And as long as we don't get any cold rain or real cool temps, which are not forecasted, that corn should be coming out of the ground in about 7 days. Hopefully with some good stands there. From a wheat standpoint, wanted to give everybody a heads up. Stripe rust is out there. We saw a little bit show up about 2 weeks ago. Thought it was probably going to be an isolated case. Since then, conditions have been a little more favorable. We've seen stripe rust become a little more prevalent in a few more fields. What we do see is varietal differences. So I'd encourage you to make sure you're talking to your Pioneer sales rep and learn which varieties are more susceptible or less susceptible to stripe rust, or if you have a competitive or other seed varieties planted, be checking with your seed supplier and see what the genetic tolerance to stripe rust is. Third thing on soybeans, I know with the amount of work that was done in cornfields from anhydrous being applied and fertilizer and the ground worked, corn planting is going to go pretty fast, has gone pretty fast this weekend already. With that, we expect some guys to be done planting corn here in the next couple days by Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, and guys talking about planting soybeans. So we'll be around the 20th, 22nd of April on these early beans if guys decide to throw them in the ground. SDS is really one thing we always watch out for on this early planting. So a couple things around that. Number one, make sure you're picking your varieties that have good SDS tolerance. Try to plant in some fields that maybe don't have a history of SDS. And then of course the third option would be to use a levo seed treatment as a little help on SDS. What we've seen out of that is about a 2-score improvement on SDS control. So if we take a variety that maybe has a genetic tolerance of a score of a 5, we could improve that to a 6 or 7 by using a levo, especially putting it into these early planted conditions. So for those of you who attended the winter meetings, just as a kind of a side note, it is going to be a full moon. I think it's Friday, April 22nd. So just as we talked about at the winter meetings, just kind of as a joke, it's a good time to plant beans on a full moon. So anyway, with that, as always, if you have any questions, please contact your local Pioneer rep. Thanks.